All right. Good morning. Let's go. Let's do the thing. I know it's dark in here, but it's it's dark outside. It's raining outside, so it is what it is. What it is. There's no light coming in this window. That's for sure. Hey, Steven. Who's that? Bex. Hey, bud. Certainly concerning enough that the Penguins took us to overtime all 3 games this season. They yeah, a little bit. Jari, usually in years past, we've lit Jari up pretty well, but not so much this year. Not so much this year. But hey, look, at this point of the season, teams are so desperate. Not that Pittsburgh really feels they have a chance, certainly now, but um, we got to take advantage of this break for sure. Hey, Matthew, didn't see the game. Okay, good morning. We came back from a 2-goal deficit and won the game, which has not happened a whole lot this year. So I certainly can't complain about that. Hey, Vincent, how you doing? Are we talking about Bettman? Bettman's beard? Talking about Bettman's beard? So I saw that he was doing a little bit of growth. Craig says some good Panthers videos dropped today, prime time in the Barkey history. Yeah, I got the notification. I just didn't get a chance to watch it. Yeah. Yeah, Bex, I agree. It's been a while since it's been a while for sure. We've been we've been taking the 2-goal deficits, and we get the 1, but we didn't be getting the 2. So it was good to do that finally. We had to expend some energy, that's for sure. Yeah, thanks, scientist said. I know Maurice said Bennett is fine, but hopefully he's not downplaying it. I think he just was a little bit too sore to skate hard the way they needed to. Hey, Vincent, I appreciate that. Nothing has changed. It's just the lighting. Nothing is not the beard is the same as yesterday. It's just dark outside. So it's weird when it's darker, when there's not a lot of light, it doesn't pick up the grays as much. It doesn't pick up the grays. I didn't color it yesterday or today. This is the same beard I rolled with last night. And if you look at last night, you can see the white. Not all the same. I'm 1 day older. That's true. That is true. My body's feeling it too. It's raining outside. It's all schmutzy. My joints don't like it. Greg says, considering the Cats are down 3 key guys, I'm not concerned. Yeah. Rolly Rider, Marner's a bum. What did he do now? What did he do now? Toronto didn't play yesterday, right? It was the last game that they lost. Tell you, this division, if you look at the way that the Panthers, Leafs, and Lightning games are laid out, it's crazy. Panthers played Lightning the last game of the season on the 15th, but the Leafs' last game is on the 17th. So that both those last games could have a lot to do with one another, with the results. If the Panthers don't have things clinched by then. Someone pooped on Gretzky's statue. What, Rodley? Is that true? Hey, Breeze fan. Then he say, hey, what's up, man? Just wondering how I felt to become a Panther fan 5 years ago, and that Lightning. I'm not sure I understand the question. And I've been a fan since day one, so I'm not sure I'm understanding the question. And that the Lightning run Florida hockey. I mean, Henny, if you're going to troll, at least get it right. I mean, there's 9 years of this channel. So, I mean, at least if you're going to troll, at least say I only was a fan 9 years ago. I don't think the Lightning run Florida hockey, but that's okay. You're welcome to have your opinion. I'm not sure, Matthew, in terms of Brad is playing. I'm going to assume he's going to start getting ready to come in soon. We only got the 11 games left, right? Bolvar says to say that game was cutting it close was an understatement. That can't continue. I don't think you're going to see Balinskis or Bornford on that second pair for a while, right? Braves, I agree to an extent because you say the last 2 games are back-to-back, and that's dumb. I wasn't a fan of it at first, but then when I see that other teams are still playing on the 17th, that does give us a couple of extra days rest before a playoff series would start for us. So I'm not crazy about it. It gives us an extra couple of days there where other teams might still be playing. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing, bud? Unlucky 13. Man. So it's true. It's true, Worley. Somebody did that in Edmonton. That's crazy, man. Silva says the Panthers are either not trying right now or the defensive depth is much worse than we thought. I think both. Zachary, they had said Cooley is week to week. They had said Cooley was week to week. So, but Maurice was specific and said we expect him to be back before the end of the regular season. We got the 4 days off now. I don't think we'll see him this week, but maybe the following week. I'm curious as when the Chicken-Chuck is going to start skating. Vincent says, so I changed my mind. I like Stenlund more than Sturm again. Yeah. Stenlund was good. Sturm's not bad. Sturm did play well last night when everybody had to move up. It was interesting to see the difference in Lundell and Sturm when they were both really playing a lot harder, trying to get some offense going. Silva says, I just don't understand how every top 9 player other than Reinhardt or Bennett are in a slump right now. Yeah. Is that right? Well, Mackey wasn't. Mackey was on a pace where he was scoring every other game, but I think it's been 2 or 3 games he hasn't scored yet now. Craig says, I guess Marchand and Cooley back for the last 5 games or so. That makes – yeah, I did, Cade. I just put him in timeout. I'm not in the mood. I mean, now if you want, you want to talk trash, whatever, but if you're going to start saying I just became a fan 5 years ago, I take that shit personally, and I ain't in the mood for it. On a Monday, you want to bring that on a Sunday when we're all having a good time, that's fine, but not on a Monday. That's both not on a Monday. Beck says, has the Chicken-Chuck puppet received its voice yet? No. I think I'm getting close, but no, it will. It will when it's time. But no, it's frustrating, Bex. I never had this. I never had the creative block that I have right now. Yeah, even Sam Miskevich isn't looking like himself a little bit. I mean, we've played a lot of hockey. You know what I mean? I think this break is going to do us well. Scientist thinks Brad should be coming in between next week and the week after, as long as what Maurice said holds true. Yeah. Shavash, you like Sturm on the third line. It was interesting last night. He really showed a different side to his game last night. At the end when Bennett was out, him and Lundell, it's like all of a sudden the team turned on some energy. It was crazy. It was good to see, to be honest. Beck says, I'm imagining a high-pitched, fast-paced sort of voice, maybe a little scratchy. Yeah, it's weird. The other voices just came out. They just came out. So I'm hoping this one does the same thing soon. Metal says they looked so exhausted skating that you ran out of. Yeah. Well, remember, that's second of a back-to-back, right? We had just gotten waxed by Washington last night, or the night before. Frosty says Bob was the only reason why we won last night. The save at the end against Rust, that was crazy. Craig says maybe just talk with the mouthpiece hanging out, like trying to talk in a big cigar. That's actually not a bad idea, Craig. All right, I'll work on something. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Yeah. All right. I'll see if I can't figure something like that out during this break. Yeah. Vincent says they're not in a slump. They're low producing players by default. Bennett has a goal in mind. Verhaeghe is a long-term problem. Yeah, I mean, Barkov would score more if he shot the puck. If he just would shoot the puck, I understand his ability with the passes and everything, but when he's got a hell of a shot. She says we were getting annihilated on the dot last night through two, especially. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, the Blues are probably going to make the playoffs, but then I think they're going to end up playing Vegas. I think that's who they're going to get. Yeah, we were a little over 20% in the faceoffs. That's terrible. Kenneth says Vanacek won't play round 3 versus Washington, so toss out Saturday's game. Yeah, I mean, 2 of those goals he gave up, they went off skates. They were going wide, and then it went off skates. Why won't the standings load? Let's see. The Blues are the 8th seed, so no, they'd get the Jets, right? No. Yeah, they're gonna get the Jets. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? All right, you too, Matthew. Yeah, Siobhan. Yeah, they play the Jets. Yeah. I wonder why the faceoffs were so bad. Huh. Crosby must have taken Barkov's lunch, I guess. It's weird how some nights we just don't have it. Edmonton's fall off must be studied almost all of the non-All-Star break. Turning hurt. Yeah. Didn't help us either, though, right? You didn't watch Saturday, Steven? Yeah. You missed a hell of a first period. You missed a hell of a first period. And then I wish we should have turned off the TV after that. Hey, NHL Aviation, we doing game? No, let me see. Let's look at the schedule and pick the game. Let's look at the schedule and pick the game. We're not doing today. Wait. Tomorrow. Let's look at tomorrow. Flyers, Leafs, Penguins, Lightning, Capitals, Jets. That's going to be a game. Senators are playing the Sabres. What's the Wednesday game? Nothing. So I would suspect, there's no games tomorrow that are 2 teams that are really fighting back and forth. There's no Tampa versus Toronto or anything like that. Who does Montreal play? The Blues. Montreal versus St. Louis might be a good game. That might be the game we do. Montreal versus St. Louis at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Hey, JC. I don't want to do the Caps and the Jets. I'd kind of rather do Montreal versus St. Louis. I don't want to watch the Caps versus the Jets. That's scary. I don't want to watch the Caps and the Jets. Those 2 teams, I don't like those 2 teams at all. I don't like that one. Vincent says, is Crosby 31 years old or yeah, he just won't go away, right? Wonder what we're going to be saying about Barkov, right? JC says Nike's come back to the NHL making skates again. Yeah, and with Montreal versus St. Louis, both of them really desperate for points. That's what we're trying to get, is the teams that are really desperate for points. Bolvar says, you see, Boston, look at what your coach is doing with the Blues, almost like he wasn't the problem. Amarex, we streamed to all the platforms. When we stream the games, we stream to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Strafosky says, I don't want to play Montreal in the playoffs, especially after they beat the Caps, right? But we wouldn't play them. We wouldn't play them until the Eastern Conference Finals, right, Strafosky? Because they're 8, they're going to play Washington, and then they would play whoever comes out of New Jersey in the Canes if Montreal beat Washington, right? I believe that's the way it works. Yeah. So we wouldn't play them until. Wouldn't that be crazy, man? Going up against Montembeault in the Eastern Conference Finals, trying to get the 3 cups. You think the Habs could pass the Sens? That's going to depend on the games they have against the Panthers. Montreal's schedule is not pleasant. They've got the Blues tomorrow, then they got the Flyers. Then they've got Canadians, Panthers. Then they got the Bruins and Flyers and Preds. But the way they end the season, they've got they got the Preds, and then they've got the Wings, Senators, Leafs, Blackhawks, and the Hurricanes. So those last 2 games, those could be wins for Montreal if they need to have them, because they're going to beat Chicago, and I doubt the Hurricanes need points. So they play Ottawa just the one time. Yeah, they only play Ottawa the one time on April 11th. A lot of Montreal is going to depend on how they play against the Panthers. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but they don't have a lot of. They only have the one game against Ottawa. I guess that's what I was trying to say, was that they don't have a lot of opportunity to. They only play Ottawa once. They don't play the Rangers. They don't play the Islanders, so they don't have an opportunity to have any 4-point swings other than the one game against Ottawa. I guess that's what I was trying to say. It's not optimal. Yeah, Montreal plays well against the Panthers, right? It'd just be interesting when are those games? Because I wonder if we get Marchand or Kulikov back by then. Sunday, March 30th, and then Tuesday, April 1st. There's probably a chance we get one or both of Marchand or Kulikov by then. That's another week for Kulikov. So that certainly would help. It's not pleasant. The defensive depth with Balinskis and Bornfoot. NHL says Islanders and Rangers both have a tough schedule ahead, so it's still anyone's game for that last spot. Yeah, the first game is 6 days from now, Kenneth. Yeah. I don't know. Dog says first game without Ekblad was the Bruins March 11th. Counting that, we played 7 games and won 3. Same period last year, we played 5 games and won 1. We're doing about the same with the worst roster. Yeah. We don't have, and we've seen this in the standings, and we've seen this inside of games. We don't have that step on their throat mentality. I think that's Maurice. Like, Maurice is so lackadaisical about every game should go to overtime and every series should be 7 games. So, like, when we get up 1-0, 2-0, we just don't have that step on their throat and just get that goal, get that 3rd and 4th goal mentality. Vincent, did Ekblad miss the last end of last season last year? Let me see. Hey, Kevin. Offense is a little cold, no doubt. No doubt. Let's see, Vincent. It was either last year or the year before. Where's his? Let's look at his game logs because it was either last year or the year before where he missed. Let's see. Last year, his last game was April 2nd last year, so he must have missed some time, right? He must have missed some time at the end of last year because his last game was April 2nd. So I believe that that's probably correct. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Vincent. He last played April 2nd against Montreal. He played 7 minutes in that game, so he must have got hurt in that game. And then, yeah, he missed. He didn't come back to the playoffs. Communist says, so we get playoff teams that are fighting for points. Meanwhile, Toronto plays San Jose, Philadelphia, and Tampa gets Buffalo twice. Yeah. Razor, what's that? Iron sharpens iron. Steven says, Marie should have been throwing the defensemen around and giving them beat downs. Hold on a second. During the Cavs game, they were so awful. Well, he made what moves he could make, right? He eventually had to suffer with Balinskis and Bornfoot on the bottom pair. And, I wouldn't mind seeing a Kiersted call up just to yeah, Craig says all the more reason to move Kiersted up, but he may be the playoffs plan. I don't know if they can move Bornfoot down without putting him on waivers, though. One wild crazy guy wants to know what my opinion of Seth Jones is. I talked about it in the podcast a little bit today. Last couple games, I've been happier with how he's looked with Forsling. I think there might be some chemistry developing there that could be good. He's still going to have his flaws, but I'm a little bit less concerned about if you had to move on from Ekblad and you went with Jones and Forsling next year. I think they're starting to work better together. Scientist says Verhagen needs to wake up. He gets some great chances, but the puck just won't go in. We talked about this yesterday. His shot percentage is just brutal right now. Like his shot percentage is way off from what it normally is. Yeah, Kevin just said the same thing I said. Jones has been better the last few games. Yeah, I think some of it was just communication with him and Forsling. It makes sense, right? You never played with the dude and suddenly you're on the top pair with him. So as long as he plays within himself, we're paying him, right? And it just says the thing with Maurice is he thinks that it's okay that his struggle is happening because it's humbling and they need to be humble before entering the playoffs. He said something like that recently. I don't know that I disagree. I don't know that I disagree with that, right? John says, it seems like when we get our first 10 shots on goal, 5 or 6 come from the defenseman. Jones has been shooting. I wish Forsling at some point, man, he's going to have a big offensive year at some point. The dude's shot is a blast. Fly says, I don't think we want to win the division if it means getting the Habs in the first round. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree there. Has Ekblad broken his foot more than once? Was it I know he broke his foot. He had a broken foot at the end of the Vegas series. I know it was Trocheck who had dinged his ankle twice. Who knows what Ekblad's been going through other than the things that he's been left out with, you know what I mean? Thank you, Braves fan. You think he has a couple games left before waivers? I know it says, just don't see the point in freaking out when we know why they look the way they do and we're still one of the top division, still on top of the division in top 10 in the league. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody dooming, but No, Braves fan, I have not heard back from Blue Chew. Not yet. Scientist says Jones seems to be getting about 5% better each game consistently. Sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah, agreed, iDog. Yeah, Kevin says Jones never looks tired. Great conditioning. And we need that. Absolutely. Absolutely agree there. That's a good point. Yeah, Jones has been good considering he came here late and has had 2 defensive partners, right? And he's on the PK and running the first power play unit. It's a good point. Vincent says post-deadline, the roster is expanded. The only thing to consider is to stay under the cap. You can call all the players you want. Yeah, I was eating like 30 minutes a game in Chicago. What's our cap space? Where are we? Let's look at that. Let's look at that right now and see if we have room. Where are we? Oh, shit. We have that much? Well, we have 23 guys on the active roster. According to Puckpedia, we have the full. Oh, but you say the roster is expanding. That's right. It still says 23 to 23, so I don't know how accurate that is. Says we still have 7,700,000 of cap space, but that can't be right. Is that how much space we still have left? Because Chucky's out, so we could basically bring up anybody we wanted to. I thought it was less than that. Oh, we don't have. We don't have the Ekblad money. Thank you, Vincent. Okay, that makes sense now. I was like, where did all that money come from? Because of the Ekblad. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't even think about it. That's right. No, you guys are right. Yeah. Bray says they could sign me to a $6 million deal. Yeah. So we could bring up, the point is we could bring up Kierstead as an experiment just to see what would happen. How bad can he be? Like, take the chance. David says Marchand is expected to play around 5 games before the playoffs. You think that's plenty of time to get in sync with playing on a new team? No, but it's going to have to be, right? Hold on a second. I missed a couple things. Kevin says the player I'd love to see more from is Eetu Luostarinen. He's great defensively, but just isn't a scoring threat. Agreed. Lundell would have what you saw Lundell last night with Samoskevich and Boquist, right? He completely changes as a player when he has to be offensive in a good way. iDog, yeah. Maurice said, Ben, it's okay. Frank says, as soon as we clinch a playoff spot, you rest every single player who went to the 4 nations. At this point, who cares about if we win the division? We should know by now it doesn't matter. I don't necessarily disagree with Frank. Yeah, Craig says, you can tell Jones is getting more comfortable with the system, too, joining in on the offensive side and taking more shots. Yeah. Julian says, those defenders are going to be out of the league after this season. Should have kept Mahura if you're going to go cheap. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the situation with Mahura was. Kevin says, another random observation. What is it with Sturm's sticks? The guy breaks more sticks than anyone I've ever seen. He broke one of the PK and it cost us a goal. He broke 2 on period against Washington. I don't know. It's a good question. Remember Ekblad used to break his stick all the time. Remember that? Like he would break his sticks left and right before the shoulder injury. Now I don't think his shot still has the same pop. Sturm's a big guy. Maybe he's just using a stick that's a little bit extra long and he's digging into the shots a little bit more. iDog says, I'll take a few 100,000 to stand next to Bob and be a traffic cone. Yeah. Jones played 31 minutes last night. You knew it was going to happen, Metal. When he put Balinskis and Bornfoot on the bottom pair, you knew everybody was playing a ton of minutes up top. Yeah, I agree with you about the Habs, Fly. They're interesting. They're not to be messed with. Hey, thank you, John. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, John. He says, fast forward to round 1 of the playoffs. Ekblad -2 games. Chucky returns after missing 20 games, and hopefully we have Marchand good to go. It still could all work, right? That's exactly what John's saying. That's the hope. It still could all work. It could all still work out. If Chucky's going to come back and be rested and actually healthy, Marchand, if he's rested and healthy, Kulikov's getting rest, Ekblad's getting rest. In the perfect world, it could work out to our benefit. Yeah, exactly, Frank, about Jones. Forsling's got a good shot too, but it's not so much the one-timer. Kenny says, I was ready to crown the Panthers Eastern Conference champs at the trade deadline. Now with everyone off, round 1 may be a bigger hurdle. Round 1 is if we could just split the game, the 2 games with Ekblad out, we could split those games. I'll be comfortable, right? Ottawa, Montreal, either way, not going to be, if we win the division, no lightweights. Mahura's on the Kraken, just with a 1-year deal. Yeah, I don't know how that would work with the carbon fiber sticks, Fly. Connie says, remember, Luostarinen scored the game winner in Game 6 against Boston and forced Game 7. I think we're asking more from him because of Verhaeghe. Others are not performing like Verhaeghe. How many goals? Let's see if Luostarinen's on like a normal pace. Because he's had a little bit of a, I want to say a slump. Hey, why didn't bring me Luostarinen? I don't want that other guy. Let's see. He's got 8 goals right now. Last year he finished with 12. The year before he finished in set with 17. So I think that might have had something to do with it. The first year we went to the Cup, he had 43 points. He had 17 goals, 26 assists, and was a plus 19. Then last year was 12 and 15 in the same number of games. What the hell was that noise? That was weird. Huh. And this year he's got 8 goals. So maybe on a pace for 10. So I think that's part of the reason is that his goal production has gone down each of the last 3 years. Scrolling down to the bottom. But E2, yeah, I agree. E2 is a big part of the team. No disagreement. You think Sturm just needs a meatball sub? I could use a meatball sub right now. I'm hungry. As soon as we're done here, I got to go eat lunch. Yeah, Uvis was bad. Yeah. Uvis was not. It was not good. He's very inconsistent. So is Bornfoot. It's like they tease you with a game or two, and they make you think maybe we got something, and then no. Like Jakob Kindle was bad every game, right? Like Jakob Kindle was bad every game. Before Matheson finally calmed down, he'd give you 2 or 3 good games and then have an absolute horrible game. Balinskis was more consistent earlier in the season, but lately he's just been giving the puck away so much. Yeah, Kevin, I don't disagree about Luostarinen. you kind of feel like he's got the talent to be like a 15 goal guy. But everybody's scoring is down right. Barkov don't even have 20 goals. No, Rosado, I haven't heard back from Blue Chew yet. I'll give him a time. I know it says you two had a kid. Verhage got married. This is why you should never have a life outside of your work. Kids. But Bob had a kid, and that worked out for him. John says after a 6-game road trip and the home game the very next night, Maurice should let the players sleep late Sunday night and not wake them up till Thursday. Yeah, I don't disagree there. Get some rest. Kay says Bobrovsky's been improving quite a bit. He's 36 and just had a kid. 2. I think they had 2 kids, right? Haven't heard back from Bank of America. Definitely not heard from Bank of America. Nope, definitely not. Definitely have not heard. I haven't heard back from the lottery yet either. I'm still waiting on my check. I mean, I wrote out the ticket numbers and everything. I sent them a letter and I said I won. Obviously, here's the numbers I had. I have not gotten my prize money yet. Huh. Rosado says Verhage needs a kid and quit partying. Maybe. Nah, these poor guys. I got something in my eye. I think I got an eyelash in my eye now, rubbing it. What did I win? Nothing, Rosado. That's the point. Nothing. Strafossi, they need the 3 days off. They do, because then the rest of the year, in the last 11 games, we got 3 back-to-backs. Kevin says the offense is sleeping. I think the 4-nation thing is not beneficial for a cup run. Certainly didn't help us. And add that to our long run of games over 2+ seasons, and the guys are tired. Whatever energy they have left, they're clearly saving it for the postseason. And it's just going to be a matter of how much that is. JC says, Bob and Miss Bob were having trouble getting pregnant. His play improved once baby number 1 came, and that stress was gone. With baby number 2, he's gotten better. This is a lesson to all you guys. Don't be like Bob. Okay? Oh, I'm kidding. Bob is the, the exception to the rule. Bob is the exception to the rule. Generally speaking, your performance is not going to improve the more kids that you have. Craig says, I'm still waiting for my rich uncle to get out of the poorhouse. Yeah. Hey, Simon. Yeah, it was a long time coming for us to finally have a comeback win last night. It was a long time coming. Man, sports shorts. If the Panthers re-sign Ekblad, how much and how long should be? Oh boy. Such a hard question to answer. My opinion has been you pay Bennett and you pay Samoskevich, and then you look and you see what money you have left. So Rosado says 3.5 times 5. Fly Guy says 2 by 2.5. Strafossi says he's worth 5. I'm not saying he's not worth 5, Strafossi. Do we have 5? Do we have 5? Yeah, good point. Frank says the Capitals didn't have a single player in the 4 nations. They're fresh as a cucumber. Yeah, I like Metal's idea, 775 by 8. I disagree there, Julian. I think the eggplant thing is part of it, but missing Kulikov, honestly, is just as big of a problem right now. Because then you're just having to put Bornford and Belinskas out there. It's too much. But you can't – we can win Yeah, we're not winning without Bennett. You got to have Bennett on the ice. We really got to have, almost got to have both. But Jones makes Ekblad a little bit more expendable. Yeah, league minimum medal, right? I thought that's the way it normally would be, Strafashi. They should have had made, you got to have at least one team, one player from each team on the four nations. Silva says Ekblad would have been worth 5 had he not been so absolutely selfish with getting back on the ice. Julian, Miko struggles with those guys on his line. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It's rough. Magda plays today, Rosado. All right, I don't want to jinx it. Yeah, Julian, Miko, it was, we had to put Schmidt up there in that second line, in the second pair. Nothing else to do. Fly says, why do you think they made 8 of our guys go? The NHL does not want the Cats into dance 3 years in a row. John, I believe E2's getting $3 million. I believe he's getting $3 million. Yeah. He's got a 3-year, $9 million. Yeah. And it expires at the end of 26-27. So $3 million. Yeah, I agree, Kevin. We have to sign. We have to sign Bennett. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too, Simon. It's not going to warm up. It's going to warm up like by the weekend now. But this week is going to be cold and rainy. It don't look good for this week. Strafashi, is Kirsten really that bad? Yeah. Bring them up. Bring them up. Yeah, Kirsten's got 25 points. It's almost all assists, though, but that's fine. That's fine. Vincent says sign Poinkin, Chikrin. Forget Ekblad. Yeah, I think we're ready to see Marchand too, sports. Huh. Kenneth says Ekblad's going to play with Gudas as the partner in Anaheim next year. Al says Panthers really need to hold that number 1 spot, but it's sketchy with their schedule. What's Toronto's schedule? Yeah, Simon, today's the day off from the gym because if I get there 3 times in a week, then I can take Mondays off. But I gotta get Kyle there more often. He's got to wake up on time. What's Toronto's schedule? Oh, come on. What? Toronto's got, we're laughing about they've got the Flyers and the Sharks, but they did just lose to the Preds. So Toronto's got the Flyers, the Sharks. Then they got the Kings. Then they got the Ducks. Then Panthers, Jackets, Panthers, Lightning, Canadians, Hurricanes. Good God. Those 6 games. Panthers, Jackets, Panthers, Lightning, Canadians, Hurricanes. And 2 of those are back-to-backs. This is the Leafs now. They play Panthers on April 2nd. Then they play the Jackets on the 5th. Then they play the Panthers on the 8th and the Lightning on the 9th. And then they got Montreal on the 12th and the Hurricanes on the 13th. And then they end with the Sabres and the Red Wings. So they had the last 2 games of the year. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's too cold, man. It's too cold. My nipples would be too tantalizing. Remember, I made that Kucherov video, Vincent, Remember, that was after they won the cup. It was like 90 degrees in this room. Remember, that was after Tampa won the cup. It's cold in here. So, Simon, I'm hoping. I don't know if they're going to win first place or not, Simon. We need to get some guys. We need to get some guys healthy. They're crawling to the end. I just don't know how much it matters, right? Hey, Sports Short, we'll see you, bud. Fosh, you say we'll finish with 97 points. What do we got? 89 now? What's that? 8 points in the last 11 games? Oh, we do a little bit better than that, right? It's a lot of tough schedule, though. Robin says, Kirsten is a stud on the PK. He plays the entire 2 minutes on the PK in Charlotte. Huh. How bad can he be? So Bulwer says, we are the least. We lose to the teams that we should easily beat, and then really lose to the teams we should lose to. Also have a phobia of the number 7. Oh, that sounds like a Dolphins fan. No, it cannot, Robin. It cannot hurt to try Kirsten, right? Maybe Maurice is going to have that discussion with Zito. I mean, he literally tried Bornfoot and Belinskas on the second pair and had to purposefully both move them down in the middle of a game. That's how bad they were. Sounds to me like Kirsten, what the hell? Try his ass, right? John, no updates on Kulikov other than they said week to week, and we haven't heard anything differently. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? No, nothing on Marchand or Kulikov right now. We kind of expect Kulikov and Marchand to be back. Maybe we're gonna miss. Maybe they'll miss another 3 to 5, 6 games each. Marchand should. You would think he's going to start practicing at some point, or has he been out there? No, yeah, that's right. Marchand's been out there, according to you guys. We never really got a guarantee on what that injury was. Al says Lightning and Sens will probably leave both of us limping into round 2 with all the brawling. One or the other, yeah. That's my biggest concern, Al, is playing. You play Ottawa. If Chucky does come back, fresh groin injury, he better not do anything stupid. And we know Chucky, right? Let's be honest. We love him. But in terms of doing smart things or stupid things on the ice, trust level is not huge. In terms of him putting his body in harm's way, there's no trust there that he won't do something stupid. And he's going to get all ginned up to play his brother, right? Hey, thank you, Frank. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Frank. He says, we're not going to pay Ekblad after the reputation he's left. If he wants to stay, he's taking less. Who's going to pay for an aging D-man with a bunch of injuries and concussions, and he's getting slower? I can't disagree with you, man. I really, really can't disagree there. But whether or not he's willing to stay for less, that's the question, right? You know, what's going to be the important thing to him right now? Is it going to be money or staying? I don't blame him either way. Like if we offer him 4 and he goes and makes 7 somewhere else, I don't blame him, right? I think that's going to be the question, is how much money is he willing to leave over? No, Simon, that's the first time we've played a card game in years. I generally don't play a lot of games because then I have trouble seeing the games. I don't like to wear my glasses that much because it gives me headaches. We don't play a whole lot. That was a very spur of the moment type of thing, for sure. Miramax says Kierstad's another left shot D. Can he play the right side? And that's a good point. It's a good point. John said, yeah, the last save by Bob in the shootout was was spectacular. He says, I think I figured it out. We're more than likely playing like this to make them all underestimate us come playing time, come playoff time. That's another way to look at it. JC, what? Sometimes I wonder if JC has his account hacked. Mel says, I don't know. Pomo doesn't seem very involved, not mentally engaged like the players. I would suspect he's not wanting to present any kind of panic or disappointment or concern publicly. That would be my suspicion. Yeah, iDog. Next time there's a Four Nations tournament, tell Chucky not to play Steve Rogers. Yeah, I like that. It's a good point. Frank says, we have too many injuries. It is what it is. Clinch a playoff spot and rest everyone. Other teams are fully healthy, but we have the experience. Now let's just hope the playoffs time we step up. Yeah, no disagreement. Yeah. Al's like this. You're talking about Ekblad. Hopefully he takes the money and runs. I mean, Kulikov is going to be back. The real big question is what kind of shape is Tkachuk actually going to be in? Like, was the decision he should have had surgery, but they decided to give him time to heal instead and see how it goes? Right? Or could he be playing right now and we're just taking it easy? We ain't never going to know. Julian says all three teams we're going to play in the first round. It's going to be tough. It's just a matter of home ice for an extra game and starting off the series at home. Right? I mean, it's not going to hurt. Kevin says, I've been brutal against Ekblad for years, but I have to say this year he's been better. And I think we miss him when he's out. Last year, I went horse yelling at the TV. Damn it, Ekblad. It's been less mistakes, but he's been just playing more within himself. Right? There's been less mistakes. I think maybe winning the cup kind of settled him down a little bit because he does get himself into trouble when he tries to do too much. But getting Jones in, I mean, you're not going to give Ekblad $7 million while you're paying Jones $7 million. You'd have to get rid of Bennett to do that, I believe. So Fly Guy to PDs work wonders, right? Kind of. Vincent says, but on OnlyFans, you like, yeah, it all depends on the amount I add. Yeah, exactly, Vincent. Whatever they're going to pay me to do, that's what I'm going to do it. iDog says, now it's damn it for Hagee, damn it, Carter. Yeah. Fly Guy says, I commented so much this year how much he was better. He was playing. Yeah. It's a good point. It's a good point because a lot of people have said Ekblad looked a little bit better this year, and now, right? Was it because we got former juicer Schmidt, Blue Chew Schmidt? Robin says Kierst has been playing some right-handed D in the AHL. I mean, he played, what was it, like 20, 30 games with us? I thought it was more. We looked at this a couple of days ago. I thought he had played more games with us, but he played 7 games, then he played 10 games, the President's Trophy season with us, and then he played 20 games with us the first year that we went to the Cup. How crazy is that? That's how we define things, is the first Cup run, right? He played 20 games that season, 1 goal, 3 assists, was a +4. And he only had 6 penalty minutes. He was only getting 9.51 ice time. So he wasn't getting a lot of ice time. So that means he was obviously on the bottom pair. So I had thought he had played more, but I guess not. John says a lot of pressure on Bob to perform going into the playoffs. In the last 2 years, we had Alex Lyon and Stores. Yeah, that's a good point, John. Yeah, I mean, Vanacek looked good the first 2 games, and then not so much the other night. When are we going to clinch a spot? Probably with a week left. Hopefully, we clinch a spot. Well, clinch. We're going to clinch soon because at some point, the other teams won't be able to catch us, right? We're probably only 4 or 5 games away from clinching, I would suspect. How far away? What do we got? 89 points. I mean, we're 10 points ahead of Ottawa. We're 14 points ahead of Montreal. So, like, maybe 4 or 5 games away, you would think, from being able to clinch. Frank says Eke's defense has gotten way better. Offense has dropped. Concern is overpaying him to get injured again. Yeah. You don't care how much steroids he takes, except for the fact that the next suspension is 60 games. Foghorn Leghorn for the Chicken Chucky voice. I'd have to listen to it and see if I could do it. I'd have to be careful because Bennett's already got that southern drawl. Bennett's already got the southern accent, right? Craig had a good idea earlier, Robin, to put the mouthpiece in my mouth and try to talk with the mouthpiece in my mouth and see what comes out and see if that works. Makes sense because he's got the mouthpiece in. I'll listen to some Foghorn Leghorn. Maybe if I try to do Foghorn Leghorn with the mouthpiece in my mouth, maybe that'll work. Trey says peptide should be illegal anyway. Ben says, yeah, well, Kirsten did it in. Hey, Mike, no update size, nothing on Marchand just yet. Eyes, we're not going to miss the playoffs. Thank you, John. Fly says, we already know he'll work for a bag of popcorn and a Pop-Tart, so let's pay him. I agree. Rob says, we also have Trevor Carrick on the AHL team. He might work. That might be getting a little deep, though, right? Well, he's kind of got Lomberg hair, though. Let's see. He's another lefty. Boy, he's played even less games. I'm not sure how he's doing in the AHL. He's only had 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in the NHL over the 5 years. He's got good numbers in Charlotte right now. He reminds me of Lucas Carlson, who's got good offensive numbers. A couple of years ago with Syracuse, he had 15 goals. This year he's got 11. But very, very little NHL experience, unfortunately. He played Carolina 2 games, 1 game. Then he played 3 games with the Sharks. He hasn't played since before COVID, it looks like. He hasn't played in the NHL since before COVID. What you got, Kevin? Kevin says, enough can't be said about Mackie Samoskevich. The kid has given so much heart night after night. I love his energy and passion for the game. I love his game, workmanlike effort, no big flash, sort of like Barkov in a way. No disagreement. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, the Heat won last night. No doubt. I says I have a confession. I was the one that made Shrek, but I tested positive. I was getting back at him for blocking Jaws on Twitter. Oh, man. Trey says they now have copper peptides that are supposed to grow your hair back. Yeah, Megna's a lefty. I don't know that I would want to grow the hair back at this point. What's the side effects? Where else does the hair grow? Like, I'm not sure I would want to grow my hair back at this point. I kind of got used to it, you know? Plus, do you got to take him forever? The hair falls back out again. I don't want to go through that trauma. Once was enough. Once was enough, you know? Plus, I got the girlfriend with the bald head. What if I just showed up one day with it grows on my back? It grows on your back, eyes. Yeah. Robbie says Megna is okay, but seems slow. Yeah, he's older too. He's like 32 years old, which is not old for me, but for hockey, it's old. Hey, Amanda. We needed the win, right? I'm not sure, Vincent. I'm not sure. Oh, gee. All right. I gave him a chance, but grow up. High Dog says Lundell's Barkov's son, Mackey is Bennett's son, which is why we need to sign Bennett. Agreed. Oh my God, this stream's going off the rails again. All right. I gotta roll. I gotta get myself some food. Absolutely need to eat. Okay, so Gordie Howe played in the NHL till he was 69. Amanda says, who do I think Mackey looks up to the most? Probably Chucky. That would be if I had to guess with no knowledge of the situation, Chucky. Yeah. Hey, thank you, John. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, John. He says, please, the Panthers have to do well. That's all we got down there. The Heat, Dolphins, and Marlins all stink. It's bad. It is good for the Panthers. It's good for the Panthers, right? Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. I'll hang on a few more minutes here. So, Trey, I just already had to ban the other guy. Now, don't start your shit, okay? Don't start. Sid, that's next year, all right? That's next year, Trey. Next year, we sign Ekblad to the contract. He doesn't get Trey says, you mean Rosado? No, it wasn't Rosado. Unless Rosado recreated another account. Guys, it was some Lightning fan that came into the chat that didn't really catch the vibe. I gave him a chance and put him in timeout the first time. And then, he tried to say, he said, I just became a fan of the Panthers 5 years ago. So I take that as an insult. Hey, Mike. Mandy says Bitcoin's up 3% today, so that's a good day. That is a good day. I know, says Trey and I had to suffer through that horrible FSU season. Yeah. Well, it can't be worse than the Dolphins. Chunky Kong. Hey, Chunky Kong. I like that. The Marlins are so depressing, man. It hurts and crazy to think the Marlins and Panthers had the same owner at one time. That's a good point. Many, many moons ago, right? Just ask my sponsor, Adam and Eve. I'm not. Should I contact Adam and Eve? I guess. Oh my God, what was 2 years ago? What did I miss? What did I miss? I missed the chat froze up on me for a second, so I'm catching up. Where did Rosado go? Rosado, did you get accidentally banned by your new account? Flying Fluffy After Dark. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I got some ideas coming up. You never know what's going to happen. Ida says, when I became a fan during the first cup run. Yeah. In fact, the Verhaeghe in overtime, that was the first hockey game I ever watched. That's why I was so excited. I'd never seen a hockey game before. And we just so happened to have all the Panther stuff. I found it at a yard sale somewhere. I don't even know where I got all that stuff. And that's why I was so excited. Because it was an exciting ending to the first game I ever watched. So yeah. There's that. I tried to give the guy a break and just put him in timeout, but he came back with the same shtick. So, all right, is what it is. Everybody gets one. Everybody gets their one strike. Even Rosado, right? Amanda says, I remember Verhaeghe his first few years with us. He was just a dog with a bone. Now he's saving his energy. Well, I'm going to hold you to that, Amanda. I hope that's what it is. And I hope it's not now that he got paid. We're going to find out. We got about a month before we find out, right? Trey says it's hard to get Panthers merch because they only make 6 of each item. And the Panthers merch was some Ekblad's dealer, right? Yeah. All right, guys. I got to roll. I got to eat. All right. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate all the super chats. Tomorrow we're gonna do a game. What was the game that Montreal versus St. Louis? I believe that's the game that we're going to do, is Montreal versus St. Louis. They're a fun team to watch. And I don't want to watch Winnipeg and Washington because I don't want to watch either one of those two teams if I don't have to, because they scare me. So I don't want to be scared. I want to relax. Not that Montreal doesn't scare me, but at the same point, Leafs Flyers. I thought about that one, iDog. I guess I could run a poll. I'd kind of rather do the Montreal game, but I'll run a poll. I'll pick a few games and we'll run a poll. Let you guys decide. All right. Appreciate all the super chats. Thank you very, very much. Members podcast to be up in about a half hour. I shall see you mañana.